Yeah, I was surprised at the number. It's not great news for us at all, really, to be honest with you, because I don't take polls that seriously. I said this, by the way, when we were very low in the polls, so I'm saying the same now. The trend is probably useful in that we're going in the right direction, but it's going to take a long time for us to regain the trust of the Irish people.
Do you think to some extent it's to do with the unhappiness with the government and the policies it's implementing? People are looking for the alternative.
Well, I think people are beginning to see that it's not black and white either in terms of how the crisis originated. People over the last number of years have seen the broader global context of the crisis and the European crisis. I think the government is very unpopular. I think the promises the government made is the big one we're getting on the doors. They were promised a lot. They were promised that bondholders would be burned. We now know that when the government came to office, there was 36 billion worth of unguaranteed bondholders out there. Every one of them has been paid. 16 billion of those were unguaranteed and unsecured. They've all been paid.
But Fianna Fáil paid them as well, didn't they?
But we didn't say we were going to change after the election. They did. They said they were going to burn the bondholders, and this has nothing to do with bank guarantees now. These are bonds that were unguaranteed. It showed the fundamental lie that was told to the people before the election by Eamon Gilmore and by Fine Gael, who said not another red cent to the banks. So that's the anger on the doorstep towards the government. And then we had the child benefit cut. And if you look at Labour manifesto, the document before the election, which listed all of the things that if you vote for Labour, they'll be safe. And every one of them now has been delivered by Labour. In other words, they're not safe at all. That really has fueled cynicism amongst the electorate in relation to the present parties in government. Yes, they were very angry with us as well, and yes, there is disillusionment with politics. I mean, Rory Quinn going onto the steps of Trinity College and promising students that he would reduce the student contribution by €500 when he got back into government, and he wouldn't increase it anymore. It was one hell of a lie, and his only justification for it.
Would you have made a promise like that?
No, I didn't make any promises before the last election because we're in the middle of a crisis. How could anyone make a promise in the middle of the last crisis? You know, I mean, the parties had a ready-made position going into the last election. We were very unpopular. We were not going to win the election by a country mile. Yet they proceeded to make all these wild promises to get extra votes. And Pat Rabbitt sort of said, isn't that what you kind of do in election time? Well, I think that has fueled, back to your original question, the unpopularity of the government. I think also as a political party we are adopting a particularly constructive role in opposition. We support certain things that the government are doing. We supported the fiscal treaty. We didn't take an opportunistic approach on that. We are recruiting young people. We're now the largest party in all of the campuses bar Trinity. We have a lot of young people coming in and younger women coming into the party, and particularly in the Dublin area we have numbers of young people now who are what we term area representatives. They're representing the party in areas where we don't have councillors. We're going back to our grassroots. We're going back to the basic principles and support base of the party from its origins, working people, small rural farmers. Obviously society has changed, and the SME and entrepreneurial sector are key to us. And that is beginning to yield results in terms of increased membership, a warmer response to the party. But we have a long journey to go. We're under no illusions about that. And one opinion poll isn't going to make us either sad or happy. On the doorstep we're getting very good engagement, and we have had both the Mann Tribunal and of course the Moriarty Tribunal, which reflected very negatively on the ESAT deal at the time in terms of the Rainbow government. Yes, there's a lot of cynicism out there towards politics, but in terms of our...
But Fianna Fáil in terms of particular...
Well, I'm just saying, when I'm on the door now, I was on the door last night, and we got very good reception on the door. People are talking to us. People's main concern on the door really is their own obviously their own position in terms of jobs, capacity to pay bills, future for their young people in terms of jobs, will there be jobs in the country, cost of education, the mortgage arrears issue, and they're looking for solutions from their politicians. So we're in the business and opposition of trying to provide some solutions. So on mortgage arrears we've produced a very good policy document on in the debt settlement office that we proposed, which was basically to take the veto from the banks, have an independent debt settlement office in relation to household debt that would arbitrate fairly between customer and banks. So that's the kind of constructive approach we're taking to opposition. Sinn Féin occupy a bench of the Bank of Ireland as its approach to debt settlement and those issues, and I think therein lies a kind of a difference. So we want to, and we're working at it, we're not doing everything perfectly, we have a lot more to do and so on, but on the doorstep it's quite a warm engagement we're having with people, and we're going to continue to.
I mean, does that
to engage.
contrast with kind of the kind of reception you were getting when you were out canvassing in 2011?
Yes, it does. Of course, a big contrast.
Yeah.
Big difference between the sort of approach during the election campaign and 2 years on. Absolutely.
When was the last time you spoke to Brian Cowen?
I met him at Paddy O'Shea's funeral, and we had a good chat there.
Okay. Do you keep in touch with him much?
Yeah.
What about Bertie Hearn? When was the last time you spoke to him?
I think at Paddy O'Shea, at the launch of the tournament for the Paddy O'Shea football tournament in Dingle, which was launched only 2 weeks ago. Met him, associate that, just a quick word with him, and I met him at Crow Park before.
Do they, either of them, have kind of any input into?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they're private citizens, they go about their lives.
But they're very experienced private citizens who, since Fianna Fáil, there's been no kind of interaction in terms of...
No, I think their view on life is they've been there, which is traditional with Taoiseach of all parties. Generally speaking, when they retire, they want to let it to the incoming, or those who are in office to get on with it.